Welcome, wrestling friends, to another edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, the Dirty Danaconda, Dan Sesnit. Dan, how's it going, man? I know you're in the middle of a move. A lot of things are going on.
Oh gosh. I'm in a big empty house by myself. My family left, so I don't know what to do with myself other than to watch wrestling, really.
it could be worse, when a
It
lot of
could.
people say I'm in a big empty house and your family left, it usually means like they're never coming back. At least you're in a situation where you will be reunited with them.
That is true. We will be reunited next week, a week from now, a week from tomorrow. So it's good. It's just it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. It cuts into my wrestling time, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
I still got in a good chunk this week. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff happened. We're on the road to WrestleMania. I would say overall, this has just kind of been kind of a weird card in that I feel like there's just a little bit too many multi-man, multi-women matches for my liking.
For
And
WrestleMania.
yeah, like triple threat matches and stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole idea of, and we'll get into it a little bit
It
further.
feels like Remember when WrestleMania 2000 happened? And like every match was a multi-man match.
I do
And
recall.
the main event was the four-way. It
I
kind of
recall
reminds
that.
me of that a little bit.
Not a very good WrestleMania.
No, not at all. I mean, it's not to say that there aren't some things that we are very much looking forward to. The Cena and Cody Rhodes build is the gift that just keeps on giving, in my opinion.
You think so? Because I'm starting to get a little bit bored with the same thing over and over every week.
I felt like it really picked up this week, though, when they were taking really deep shots at each other with
Okay.
especially the line of Cena saying that I make a bunch of money, whatever the line was about how he makes a lot of money for billionaires, but Cody, well, I forgot the line.
I see. That's the thing. The promos have been downhill since the first one. It's just kind of more of the same. There's nothing sort of
I kind
defining.
of, for me, I liked how this week they, Cody attacked Cena for Cena just kind of being the company guy all these years, and he's the reason why so many people turned off the TV. There's a lot of truth to that
Well, there's a lot of truth
because
to both sides, sure, and the best promos are the ones that come with a lot of truth based, material.
yeah,
But that doesn't mean that I don't know when you start getting into the same repetitive open every week, and it's just a back and forth. It just it
I'd like
doesn't.
to see a little bit more physicality of this. I know we got physicality right at the end of the segment, but
Yeah,
I want to see it turned up a little bit more. Maybe Cena interacting with other baby faces on the show. Like, you and me both wanted to see some sort of Cena interaction with R-Truth,
at
where
some point, right? It
he
makes
shows
sense.
that, Cena really shows what a piece of shit he is by like attacking R-Truth. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, something like that would, just because, like, yes, I think that you were right in that it is repetitive in that it is the opening segment of Raw and Cena is just there in the ring airing out his grievances. And yeah, maybe some of the subject of what he's talking about, he's mixing it up a bit, but it is still the same basic like segment.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's just not fun. Have him, like I know he doesn't have a lot of wrestling left in him, but he can still wrestle. Like there's still ways to build this card better than they or build this match rather better than they
mhm.
have, in my opinion.
Regardless, I mean, this is probably the match I'm looking forward to the most, just because like I don't know what's going to happen, and I feel like it has the most like unpredictability to it.
Really, you don't think I mean, we're gonna do our WrestleMania preview show next week and we'll go over it all then, but I don't know, man. I feel like 17 is pretty predictable.
Seven, okay, for Cena, yeah. Well, we'll see. They said that this was Cena's last scheduled appearance before WrestleMania. I really hope that's not the case. I hope that just means like yeah, it's his last scheduled appearance, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to show up before WrestleMania. Because
I
I would
mean,
hate 2 more weeks of build for this match and he's not present.
it's going to be tough to build it without him. But again, if they're just going to tote him out to do the same thing again, then I don't care. Leave him at home.
Yeah. I would like to see the Rock side of it pick up a little bit too.
Not a lot of time left, and I know that Rock has a busy schedule, so I don't know if we're going to see anything prior to WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, this has just kind of been a I mean, granted, with what they did last year, there was really nowhere to go but down. I feel like that they threw all their eggs into the basket with the end game style main event that they had last year. Like it was just, how do you top that, right?
You don't.
But
you don't.
Yeah, you don't. But I mean, be remiss if I said that this build has just been a little bit lacking, just across the board.
For all the good that they're doing on all of their shows, they're putting on good shows generally. The whole entire WrestleMania card still seems, even though most of the matches are set, it still seems very up in the air, and it doesn't feel like nothing feels really concrete. Nothing feels
well. Let's get right to a big pivot that they had to do last night. In terms of not having things concrete, because we thought we were going to see Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And I was so hoping that this would be an angle. Fortunately, it was not. And Owens says that he requires surgery and he's going to be missing Mania. And Orton, acknowledged him. I was really hoping for Owens to kick him in the nuts and hit him with a pile driver or something, but that wasn't to be. Yeah. So it's just like, what do they do now with that feud? Because after that segment happened, Randy Orton gave the RKO to Nick Aldis. And while that does seem like a bit of an interesting feud, to pivot to something that random just doesn't seem right either,
as a WrestleMania match, absolutely not. It doesn't make any sense to immediately jump to Randy Orton versus Nick Aldis, especially since Nick Aldis hasn't been in the ring in a WWE sense ever, and in the ring in general in a long time. So, I mean, I do trust Randy's ability to get a good match out of somebody. I think he's always been a really strong worker. So to get that, sure, but it's not a WrestleMania match in my opinion, and they have to pivot something else. Maybe they have somebody that's a surrogate for Nick Aldis.
I mean, hey, they got somebody that is there's a couple of people that they have waiting in the wings to debut. First of all, got Aleister Black. We're gonna have to get used to that name again. He's going to be making his re-debut. We've seen vignettes, presumably for him. So
presumably
maybe that's someone they could pair with Randy. And then on the other side of things too, just came out this week that Rusev inked a new deal with WWE. So maybe he could be a surrogate for Nick Aldis.
I don't know, man. I think WWE is doing too much. I think that they're really, really falling into that hole where they have too many people on the roster and they don't know what to do with them. It's the same problem AEW had for a while.
Yeah.
And AEW finally filtered out a lot of those people. And I mean, I won't say that the product is as good as it's ever been because it's not, but it's still pretty good.
It's a little bit more cohesive.
It also has a more distinctive feel. It feels more like AEW. It feels less like WWE light without a lot of those guys.
Right. So, I mean, overall, if you were a betting man, what would you say is Randy Orton's match at WrestleMania? Or does he just not have one?
I'm gonna go crazy and say he doesn't have one. Because I think that they know in their heart of hearts that Aldis versus Orton doesn't have enough time to build, unless it's like, yeah, I just don't know where he goes. It was
I
Kevin
think that
Owens.
I think that I see where they're coming from with Randy Orton versus all this, but I
Okay.
still think that they're reaching a bit because, like, I know this wasn't the first time that Nick Aldis got the RKO.
No.
There has been like little seeds in the past of dissension between Randy Orton and Nick Aldis, but I still think that it hasn't been as prominent of like a beat in the storytelling that it would be worthy enough to go through with a WrestleMania match.
No, it's like I said, it's not a Mania match. It's just not.
Mm.
I'd rather see it on a SmackDown or maybe a Backlash type situation, but
Yeah.
it's not Mania. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have enough time to flesh itself out. It doesn't have enough build time. It just
Here's what I think. I think that they should go with Orton versus Rusev as the surrogate for Nick Aldis. And the reason why I think that is because when you're looking at Rusev versus another possibility being Aleister Black, I see Rusev more as like a henchman for Nick
yeah.
Aldis if that was going to happen. And Aleister Black, I don't think he can afford to take a loss. Obviously, coming back, I think Rusev is the type of character that can afford to take a loss if he's coming
If
back to
he's coming
WWE.
back as an enforcer or something like that, I just don't know how you write the story in that amount of time. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's going to take a miracle to put together something entertaining for Randy Orton for WrestleMania.
Right. Absolutely. It's really fucked up a lot of shit. And you know what also has my wheels turning in my head is like, what was the plan for Sami Zayn? So, Sami Zayn had to have been factored into this match somehow, right? Like he was
Yeah,
probably going
probably.
to jump in and like stop Kevin Owens from doing something heinous to Randy Orton. I
Probably.
wonder if they're going to somehow factor in Sami Zayn for a match.
They still haven't written. That's the problem, man. Like a lot of these guys can be fit into these multi-man matches that it doesn't seem like they're going with this year
Mm-hmm.
with the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title.
Well,
It
the
seems like
U.S. title is set in stone now. It is
yes,
going to be LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu, which I
which
think is the
is
right
which
move.
is it's great. I like
Yeah,
it, and I think we'll talk about it more on the preview show. But I think that this is Fatu's chance to really take a step forward and win that title. But that's
big
a
time.
whole another episode.
Yeah.
But even with the Intercontinental, like what's going on with that right now?
What is? Oh, you know what's happening? They're gonna. That's gonna be a multi-man match too, because it's gonna be Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Braun Breaker in a 4-way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. I miss those. I miss those Intercontinental ladder matches and U.S. title ladder matches at Mania for the
Yeah.
title. I always thought they were a really good way to start the show.
Yeah. Why not
Or
throw like? I feel like this card, there is no gimmick match.
not that I
There really isn't any gimmick match at all.
gun to my head, I couldn't tell you exactly what the card is. To be completely honest with you,
I mean, I think I would get close if the gun was to my head and I was sweating and I really had to think about it. Um, but yeah, it's a weird WrestleMania build, weird WrestleMania card. A couple other things I do want to highlight that happened last night on SmackDown. First of all, the show couldn't open any better of a way with Ray Fenix's debut in WWE, and they gave him a great dancing partner, Nathan Frazier, one half
this
of the
was
NXT Tag Team Champions.
this was a weird spot for NXT or for Frazier's SmackDown debut, but it was really the smartest of all people that he could wrestle against.
Yeah, definitely, and Hell of a fucking match. I loved Phoenix's new variation of the Muscle Buster that he does, turned into a driver.
Yeah, the MMB,
The MMB.
The Mexican Muscle Buster. That fire driver, I texted everybody in the group chat, like, how is that not a finisher? That thing
Yeah.
is absolutely
I think it
brutal.
was his finisher in AEW, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but I can tell you this much. That is such a brutal finisher that I don't know how Frazier got up from it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Great debut, though. And, I mean, one thing I did notice is the styling of Ray Phoenix's logo is like almost exactly the same Penta's.
Oh, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they mentioned the Lucha Brothers on the broadcast, so it's
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a matter of time before we see them as a tag team. Which
I'm thinking when the draft happens.
yeah, probably. I mean, something's got to happen because as much as I like them as singles competitors, I just like them better as a tag team, and I always have. I don't know what it is, but their series of matches against the Young Bucks were just really just
Oh,
stuff
it's great.
legend.
It was great, but at the same time, like I think that WWE introducing them like this, knowing that they will eventually put them back together, like I don't know. I like that they're establishing them as viable single stars, so when they do get together, it'll feel bigger. At least
Now
that's
I
how.
know he's only one day into his debut, but who do you think was more impressive in general, Penta or Ray Phoenix in their opening match?
Ooh. I would say, and I love both matches, but I would probably say Penta, just because like I feel like he adapted to a WWE style pretty well against Gable, right when he began, and he emoted really well during that match too. You know, you remember him screaming when his knee got shattered.
I also think Penta's presentation was just generally better.
Yeah.
Just the entrance and everything, and I think the music is better. I love Ray. I think Penta got the red carpet treatment, whereas Ray didn't quite get the same.
To be fair, both of their theme songs suck objectively.
Yeah.
I mean, one is better than the other, but Def Rebel is just fucking terrible.
Oh yeah, he's fucking doo-doo butter.
Yeah. But yeah, that was awesome debut by Ray Phoenix. SmackDown's just gonna keep getting better with Aleister Black coming soon too.
As long as they find time for everybody.
Yeah.
Not
Yo.
Ask
So
Tony Khan.
this segment last night for the previewing the WWE Women's Championship match.
I missed this segment. I'm going to be honest with you.
You missed the segment. Okay.
I did. I fell asleep after the last man standing match.
Well, I think it's worth you just going back and taking a look at it because oh boy. Tiffy definitely went there. This was just such a display of how much people detest Charlotte. Just no matter what she does, what she says, she just never comes off authentic or genuine. She's just disingenuous bitch. Just the worst person and just so stuck up. And I don't know, man, like her whole fucking aura is just ick.
Yeah,
like,
there's nothing about her.
I want her off my screen, and I mean, I guess I'm kind of surprised at myself with just how brutal I'm being about this indictment on Charlotte, but like, she's just fucking awful, and I just think that they have such a talent pool at this point right now that like, I wish they would just phase her out. She's go away heat. She's not good heat. She's go away heat, and. I'll just get into what Stratton said about her. Stratton said, you're going to try to take the title away from me, but what is your record in real life? 0-3, referring to her marriages.
Yeesh.
Yeah. And you know, and Tiffany was also just saying like one battle you'll never win is with these fans. They will never like you, never respect you, and that hit the heart after what I just told you. And then after Tiffy hit Charlotte with that line about being 0-3 and marriages, Charlotte very desperately was like, "Oh, why is Kaiser in my DMs?"
Eesh.
Yeah, and it was just like, you're reaching. You just suck. Like,
Well, I guess I'm glad I didn't see it, to be
dude,
honest
this was
with
just
you.
not a good look for sure. It made Tiffany look good. It definitely did. But apparently, I don't know how accurate it is, but I did see that they someone reported that they went off script.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But
I'm not looking forward to this match just because, like, the idea of Charlotte winning just sickens me, and I think she is going to win.
I think so too.
Yeah, she sucks, man. She really does. And like, if anything that I've seen with the women's division that they have right now between both rosters, Raw and SmackDown and NXT, she is just she's not at the same level. I'm sorry. I would put Julia and Stephanie Becker easily over Charlotte right now.
Yeah. I mean, I would put most of the roster over Steph or over Charlotte, but unfortunately, her last name is Flair.
She's an Evo baby.
Her last name is Flair, and that's just what it's going to be. I mean,
Yeah.
until she retires, which
Mm-hmm.
who fucking knows when that'll be. She'll probably think she could be a model or something soon enough.
I just hope she hangs it up, man. She's pushing 40 at this point. Why not?
She really?
Yeah.
Okay. Time for her to hang him up. Then I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. Another thing that went down that was pretty important was that we finally got the reveal of what Paul Heyman's favor was for CM Punk.
Yeah, this is dumb.
It was pretty anticlimactic.
Super dumb.
Yeah. I will say this. I think a lot of people are correct, and I'm kind of on this, jumping on this bandwagon too, of I think that Heyman turns on both Reigns and Punk at Mania and aligns with Rollins.
Okay. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
They need something to make this storyline hot because I'm not really that invested in it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, like, why is it the fucking main event?
To appease CM Punk, I feel like. It's just, I think it's to appease CM Punk and to appease Roman Reigns. You know, I mean, coming out of his historic title reign and everything, I think that they want to still treat him like he is one of the focal points of WWE. And
but he's not anymore.
yeah,
Or at least he shouldn't be.
mm-hmm.
His run is over. Like the tribal chief era is done. And
You think so?
I don't. He's not done. I'm just saying, like, he's never gonna be what he was.
It was just such a historic reign.
Yeah, it was an all-time reign, probably the all-time reign. Definitely the craziest reign we've ever seen in real life. Because obviously we weren't around for Bruno, and
and it wasn't, wrestling wasn't even on the same scale.
Yeah, or Hulk Hogan or anything like that. I mean, but still, it's he's just not gonna be at that level, and I don't think it's fair to guys that are fighting for a title to not be in the main event, especially guys that won the Royal Rumble, like Jey Uso.
Like Jay and you know what? I glossed over that too. I do think the build to that match definitely picked up this week when Gunther just bludgeoned Jimmy Uso in front of Jay.
Yeah,
that was good shit. Mm-hmm. That was really good shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. But I do think that for the most part, with the exception of this week, they've kind of done a disservice to Jay on this build. against Gunther.
A little bit, but he's going to win, so I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I think that's probably how they see it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, hey, you know how many WrestleManias that we have gone through where the build isn't really that great? Like, for the fact that this is kind of a lacking build, it still beats the fuck out of any WrestleMania that happened during the Vince era as a whole.
I mean, maybe. I mean, there were some pretty good WrestleManias back in the day, but
I mean, the last 10 years, though.
Like the last 10 years, no, there hasn't been much to speak of.
Yeah. Absolutely. And of course, there's so many shows to look forward to WrestleMania weekend.
Absolutely. WrestleMania is not even the big one. I mean, it is the big one, but there's just so much to take in that week that WrestleMania almost sort of becomes an afterthought in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
really
WrestleMania is just a show that's on during Joey Janela's spring break weekend.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, we'll talk about Joey Janela's spring break and all the other fantastic shows of that weekend when the time comes.
Yes.
But for right now, tomorrow night, we do have AEW Dynasty.
Exciting.
I think that for the most part, the AEW shows in the last few weeks have been pretty solid.
They've been good. They've been good. I mean, the Death Riders are still a bit of just a blight on the whole product. I think that it would be nice for Swerve to take the title and them to go in a different direction this weekend.
I think we witnessed the most negative force in professional wrestling taking out the most positive force in professional wrestling on Dynamite, and it broke my soul. And you know what I'm talking about, Dan?
Yeah, I assume you're speaking of Marina Shafir and Willow.
John Moxley and Willow.
Yes, John Moxley and Willow.
Yeah.
It was, got
my blood boiling.
That's heat, right? Like that you want to get heat, you go for Willow. There's a handful of people you go after if you want the big time heat. And Moxley knows that.
Willow and OC.
Willow and OC. That's pretty much it. They're as beloved a pair as there is in AEW or professional wrestling in a lot of ways. So yeah, I mean, it was wild to see.
I think it just it was real heat, man. It really was. And if there's one thing that Moxley's doing well, it's he's getting genuine heat, and he's genuinely hated.
The man knows what he's doing. Like, flat out. He knows what he's doing. He is there's a reason why he's champ. There's a reason why, this era needed a guy like him to sort of bring it forward. But I think that Swerve is going to be the guy to keep it pushing.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. We'll get to the main event, but let's just let's cover this card here.
Okay.
What we have for Dynasty. So we do have some Owen Hart Cup tournament matches that are going to be happening.
Yep.
The first of which is going to be Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. This is I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher because I feel like isn't this kind of like the rubber match? They've had two matches against each other before.
Yeah, I think Fletcher wins here too. Obviously, it's hard you never root against Mark Briscoe, but the winner here is probably going to be Kyle Fletcher. They've wrestled a few times. I don't know that I like putting all these Owen Hart Cup matches on pay-per-view.
I don't know. I don't either. It feels very filler.
Yeah.
And I feel like that this, we have Dynasty tomorrow night and hot main event. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like the amount of time between this and Revolution, which was the last pay-per-view, just a very short amount of time to build for a nice stacked card. And it is just a lot of filler.
They
But
could have went without those matches on here and done a nice tight 7-match card and been good with it, and
yeah,
everybody would have went home happy.
right. Especially having it on a Sunday, and you don't have to fucking have the pay-per-view happening until midnight. But now they have a 10-match card. It's probably gonna go until midnight.
Probably. I don't have to work till 10 a.m., so I'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't have to work till 10 a.m. either, but I put in for that because I knew I knew that this fucking show was gonna go so late. Anyway, let's move on to the next match. One thing I don't like, and let me just air this grievance right now: the Owen Hart women's bracket right now. I don't like the amount of heel versus heel, babyface versus babyface matches that are happening
For the women's bracket?
Yeah. You got Jamie Hayter versus Billy Starks. On this show, you have Julia Hart versus Mercedes Moné. Both heels.
I don't consider Julia Hart really a heel.
I mean,
consider her more of a tweener.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on the men's side, I guess the men's side isn't that really that bad. But I just find that weird. And then like Thunder Rosa against Chris Statlander.
Yeah, that's
and then you got Harley Cameron against Athena. That's kind of weird. Just because, like, yeah, Athena has been a heel and on Ring of Honor, but obviously they're positioning her right now to, challenge Mercedes. So she has been positioned more as a babyface. So I just find it odd how they're putting together.
Weird, but it's a tournament, and tournament wrestling doesn't necessarily always make sense. Because you have to find a way to get to what you want the final to be.
Yeah, I guess. Regardless, Monet against Julia Hart, I think, is going to be a very good match.
I do too. Julia improves every time she goes out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is just going to be another Mercedes banger. I saw recently Kevin Nash commented that Monet isn't the performer that she was in WWE, and I just had to strongly disagree with that. And I'm one of the harshest critics of Mercedes, as you know.
Maybe the harshest critic of Mercedes.
Yeah, but like, there's no denying that like she fucking brings it every single pay-per-view.
Yeah, every pay-per-view, every match. She's in her element wrestling in this environment. Yes, is she more of a big crowd type person? Maybe, but this is her wrestling style that she wants to wrestle.
Agreed. All right. Well, for a filler match, I will take this one. Owen Hart tournament quarterfinal, Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight, one of the best vertical leaps in professional wrestling, I will say. And Ospreay is Ospreay, and everyone knows him and knows his greatness. But yeah, Ospreay wins this, but Kevin Knight's going to have a very strong performance.
Ospreay definitely wins, and to go back, Mercedes definitely wins too.
Yeah.
I think that this has the potential, outside of the triple threat match, to be a match of the night candidate.
I can see that. Okay, then we have for the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Syndicate with MVP against the Learning Tree. Man, it's like the most important storyline that's happening right now among these wrestlers is the MJF Hurt Syndicate situation.
Correct.
And it's just like, I wish there was a way that they could have kind of tied that in with the Hurt Syndicate's involvement on this pay-per-view, rather than just having this tag team match, which is really only built up in like the last couple of weeks, right? Yeah, they approached the Learning Tree and they're like, oh, well, you got to win some matches in order to challenge us. So they beat Top Flight, which, by the way, like, I'm tired of Top Flight just being a stepping stone for other teams. They deserve so much better. And yeah,
I think that the Hurt Syndicate, may be destroying AEW's tag team division.
I feel like you had a different feeling about this when they won the titles
I did. And
Yeah.
now they're just not really wrestling tag teams like proving their dominance over real tag teams. Like, let's be honest, like Bill and Brian Keith, who I like both individually fine, aren't really a proper tag team. You know what I
No.
mean? Like they beat the Outrunners, which yeah, I get it, but
We
like
never got to see Brian Cage and Lance Archer challenging the Hurt Syndicate, which honestly to me seems like a bigger match because they're a much more proper tag team.
yes, but Cage got hurt, I believe.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that he's got some form of an injury.
All right, next we had for the TNT Championship, Daniel Garcia defending against Adam Cole.
Again,
I have to be perfectly honest, I really haven't been paying attention to this whole situation at all. Have you?
the storyline is it's whatever. It's one of those like respect storylines and blah blah blah, but they put on good matches together. They have styles that mesh really well together.
Mm-hmm.
So their matches have been very good, and this one I expect to be very good too. I think they'll give it their all at the pay-per-view, but I don't think the storyline is anything that's very like intriguing.
I don't either. My hope for this though is like we kind of see the Adam Cole of old again. Adam Cole maybe hits a nice little low blow and wins the championship.
Yeah, I mean it's probably time for a title change, and Adam Cole is always proven to be a very good champion, as a heel particularly.
I feel like the proper name for Adam Cole right now is Adam Cold because like he just has been so cold on whatever he's been doing post this MJF situation, which
Because they're trying to force him as a babyface.
but it's also like when he came back, they so badly wanted to go back to the MJF well, which we already knew that whole storyline was like dead.
Yeah.
When it was wrapping up, and they just tried to resurrect it so hard. And I feel like that did a lot of damage to Adam Cole.
It's hard to not want to resurrect a storyline that gets stifled by injury, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so happens that it just didn't work.
I get it, but I just wish that they thought about, was this storyline really working at the time? Because I don't think it was.
It was a little confusing, and they had a chance to wrap it up and fix it, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So, maybe Cole wins the title here and goes on a run as a TNT champion, as a heel champion. Who knows?
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Adam Cole there. We didn't mention it, but I think you and me both kind of implied that we both see the Hurt Syndicate retaining the AEW Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, I don't see Keith and Big Bill winning.
Yeah, me neither. All right, title versus mask for the ROH World Championship. Chris Jericho defending against Bandito. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm looking forward to this match because the last time that they wrestled each other on the Collision a month or two ago, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, they wrestled a good match. Bandito's excellent. Obviously, I think Bandito wins here.
I think he does too. Purely out of the fact that Bandito's look with his mask is just way too marketable for them to just like have him unmask and just be another guy. Yeah. Like I just feel like that doesn't make any sense at all. And with how the storyline's been going with Jericho being fucked up and taking Gravity's mask, Gravity, who's Bandito's brother.
Yeah.
And how that's all been going. I think it's time for Jericho to drop the title.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Bandito can carry the Ring of Honor, brand and be on that show. Right. Mm-hmm. And whereas Jericho's just not going to be. So It's time.
Definitely. All right. Trios match for the AEW World Trios Championships. Feels like forever since we saw defense here. Death Riders, Claudio Pack and Wheeler against Rated FTR. Interesting developments in this storyline. It seems like might be teasing kind of a heel turn from Cash Wheeler. He's getting real frustrated with everything.
A little bit of dissension amongst them, correct?
Not being on the same page either.
Yeah.
And just being a little surly and rough around the edges, and there's some tension there. And I don't know where this storyline is going, but I feel like that just kind of makes me all the more interested in what I'm going to see here. My hope is that Cash Wheeler, or I'm sorry, not I was saying Cash Wheeler the whole time, like being the surly one. It's Dax Harwood.
Yes.
Yeah. So my hope here is that like Dax Harwood turns Cash Wheeler to the dark side with him, and they just become a heel tag team again.
Yeah, I mean that would be much more fun, but I think you're wrong here. I think FTR actually wins the trios championships here.
Really?
I do.
Even though there's dysfunction?
I do. Somehow I just think so. I don't know why. I just think it's time for a title change for the.
They just get the belts off of all the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next, we have the 3-way match for the AEW International Championships. You know what? I think Death Riders retain. I was jumping ahead a little bit too quickly, but I think Death Riders retain. But for the AEW International Championship, Kenny Omega defending against Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey. Yeah, this is going to be the match of the night. Pretty easy for me to say.
I don't see why not. I mean, this is 3 of the best in-ring technicians in the world getting together to do something special. I say Kenny retains here.
Yeah, I say Kenny retains here too, because I still think that the long-term booking is they're eventually going to have Kenny versus Okada, and they're going to unify those belts.
Probably at All In, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be. I hope they come up with a dope new belt.
Dark horse pick for this match, though, I could definitely see a world where Ricochet wins.
I could too, but
and he like underhandedly pins Speedball.
I could see it. I just, I think that you're right in the idea that eventually we're going to get champion versus champion, Okada versus Kenny, because we need that. That's something that wrestling fans across the world need, especially if it's for a title unification for a sweet new belt.
Agreed, man. Yeah. And that's a big money matchup. We've seen it many times before. I'm curious if they can recreate anything close to the same magic that they had when they kind of broke professional wrestling. What was that, 7 years ago?
I mean, they've obviously slowed down a little bit, but I still think that they're 2 of the best big match wrestlers in the world, and they're gonna do big things when the time comes because it's inevitable that it's coming. Honestly, had Kenny not been out with diverticulitis, I think we would have already seen it by now.
And I think speaking to your point before about WWE kind of having this congestion problem at the top, I think it needs to be said that Okada isn't even on this card and that he wasn't really even factored into the plans and hasn't even really been on TV that much either. So
no, not since his mini feud with Brody King. No,
kind of interesting. They didn't get him in there.
I mean, I miss the Young Bucks too. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't.
I do.
All right, so for the AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Toni Storm defends against Megan Bayne. I've really enjoyed Tony's commentary and build to this match. She's just been consistently such a highlight of every single show.
She has to carry it on the mic.
Was that?
She has to carry this feud on the mic, basically. So
yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Tony is going to retain somehow, but how do you do it without Megan Bain? Like Megan, they can do this with Megan Bain still looking strong, right?
It's a tall task. It's a tall task, but Tony is a 4-time AEW Women's World Champion. So if there's anybody that can do it, it has to be her, right? No matter the forces that she's up against. I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be really, really good.
I think it's going to be really good too. I think it's going to be great. Megan Bain, I think she's ready for this moment. I mean, I became an even bigger believer in her. I want to say 3 weeks ago on Collision when her and Statlander main evented.
Yes.
They had a fucking hell of a match with each other.
Those two are built for each other too, though. So it's they've proven it.
For sure. All right. And then finally for AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley defends against Swerve. Fuck, bro. Yeah, I am very much in the if Mox wins, we riot mindset.
I see everybody's point about Swerve winning, and I think Swerve is going to win. But with that being said, I'm going to hedge the shit out of my bet and say I wouldn't be surprised if Mox retains.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Swerve winning, just for my own sanity. I don't want to even like predict that Mox is. Do I totally see Mox retaining in some way? Yeah, but it's not the right move.
It's not, but you know, and if not Swerve, who?
Exactly.
Like that's what it looks like to me because Swerve is your biggest star, arguably, right outside of
the only one you could make a case for is like Ospreay, Hangman. Legitimate cases can be made for Ospreay, Hangman, Swerve, Kenny, MJF.
I know you're going to hate to hear this, but you can make a case for Darby too, just because, not because I love him, but because A, Tony loves him, and B, the crowd does love him.
This has been the last episode of Smarknado. I hope you all enjoyed it. Dan has gone way too far. He said that you can make a case that Darby is the biggest star in AEW.
No. I said he could win the title. I didn't say he's the biggest star.
Okay. All right.
No. Don't get it twisted. I said you could make a case for him winning the title off Moxley.
Okay. All right, good. All right, well, I just decided, and we just mutually decided we are going to continue the show.
Okay. So I'm glad.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just wish that I wish this show was happening in a couple of weeks.
Just to get it a little bit more of a build?
Yeah. Maybe 3 more weeks. I don't know. A couple weeks is WrestleMania, for fuck's sakes. So
yeah, and that's why they had to jam it in here before WrestleMania. You're definitely not going to go up against WrestleMania, and the first week people might not buy just because they know WrestleMania is coming, right? They might be wrestled out. So I kind of understand where they're coming from, but they probably could have skipped this pay-per-view altogether and just waited until Revolution.
Yeah,
but it's here. They're going to perform like they always do on every pay-per-view. You could say a lot of bad things about AEW. We have in the past, and but one thing we'll never say against them is that they don't perform when it comes to pay-per-view time.
Oh yeah, that's the one constant of AEW.
They always give their fans their money's worth because we are paying for it. And I think that they understand that. Yeah, like, are we tired afterwards? Sure. But are we ever unsatisfied with the wrestling that we just saw? Not usually.
You're right, Dan. It's true. I am quite tired. How about you?
Me too. Yeah. Let's wrap it up, B.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, guys, follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. See, we're both. Oh, I'm pointing. Not to the WrestleMania sign, but to the QR code. Right
Scan
there.
it.
That's for all our shit.
Oh man, what to say? What to say? Fuck Elon Musk. And stay fresh, cheese bags.
Keep watching wrestling.